Mm. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Friday Live. It's Fiona Lukeis here. You might be wondering where I am and why I'm coming to you live from my car. I'll explain more as we give the feed a little bit of time to work out, so you guys know that I'm here. But coming to you live from my car, I've been on a bit of a road trip this morning, and I haven't had time to get back home. So I didn't want to let you guys down. So here I am, midway through my road trip, coming to you live from my car. I've just had to pull up by the side of the road so that I could do this with you guys, because I'm a couple of hours away from home at the moment. But wanted to fulfill my promise of coming here live with you guys and answering any questions that you may have about life, relationships, or any of those things that I answer here for you every Friday. So if you are listening live, and I can see some of you are just starting to join in on the feed, feel free to say hi and let me know when you're listening from. Hey, Michelle, thanks for saying hi, honey. Nice to see you. And anyone else out there who wants to say hi, let me know. Or if you've got a question that you would like me to answer, of course, I will answer that for you. You've got a couple of questions that have been sent in, and I will answer those in a second. But for those of you who've just tuned in, I am coming to you live from my car. Been on a road trip this morning. My daughter, who is actually sitting next to me, my daughter and I have gone to look at a horse, and beautiful horse. We've fallen in love with this horse. His name's Herbie. He's beautiful. He's bred to jump. And so she's just had an amazing ride on Herbie. So we've just looked at this beautiful chestnut, absolutely stunning horse, little baby, but so he needs some training and groundwork and things like that. But yeah, we've just come back from looking at a horse, and very exciting, very, very exciting. So that's why I'm coming to you live from the car, because we've still got, we're a couple of hours away from home. But yeah, we've just looked at this beautiful warm blood cross thoroughbred who is bred to jump, and was just amazing. So we're on a bit of a high from looking at Herbie. His name is Herbie, this beautiful chestnut, gorgeous. Anyway, so for those of you who just joined in, feel free to say hi. Let me know when you're listening from, and if you've got any questions, post them in the comments below, and I will start answering the first questions that have come through. So, all right, so this question's come in. Hi, Fiona, I really enjoyed your ebook. I've read a lot over time about thinking being the source of unhappiness, letting go, growth mindset, and all of that. It makes a lot of sense. I know not to take moods personally, even if that still takes some effort after a lifetime of being a people pleaser. I guess my question is how to apply this to an early relationship. I've been seeing this man for 6 months, and in the beginning we'd see each other about twice a week. Over time, he wants to spend time together less and less on average due to being stressed and anxious about various things. I don't put any pressure on. I realize it's not about me. Good for you, that you can see that. That's what I call being able to stay in your own emotional lane, when you realize that something is not about you, even if it can hurt. It's to the point now where it's been going on 3 weeks since we've spent time together. He doesn't ignore me, though he texts regularly, and even checks in on things he knows is going on in my life. I feel like he's giving very mixed messages. He's busy at work right now, but it's still a regular 40-hour a week. So I guess what you're saying is you can't understand why he's not in touch more. He was single for more than 10 years, so he's definitely got his habits and routines. I'm a single parent of 6. Wow, congratulations to you. Wow, single parent of 6. That's not easy. With a full-time job and a busy life of my own, so it's not like I have tons of time either, but I make time for the things that are important to me. So what do you do in a situation like this? Continue to be understanding and accepting, and only spend time together when it's convenient for him. Break things off even though the connection is like no other, and time together is wonderful and effortless when it does happen. Is there something that can be said that I'm missing? All of the advice I saw seems to apply to romantic, in your work, seems to apply to romantic relationships. Look, one of the things I will say is actually that's not true. Everything that I teach is about relationships in general, because the answer to all relationships is the same, or the space that you look from for the answer is the same. This is very important. whether you are in a romantic relationship, a parent-child relationship, whether you are a work colleague, the space that you come from, the understanding that you draw from is the same for all relationships. That's why I love what I teach so much, because it simplifies it all. We all think that there's a different answer depending on the relationship. And it's interesting. This is one of the reasons I was going to get my daughter. I was going to record a podcast episode. It's been a while. My podcast has kind of laid dormant for a while because I haven't had time, and I've only just started to feel motivated, inspired enough to get back into it, because I've had so many other things going on work-wise. But I was actually going to get my daughter on a podcast, because there is such a similarity between the way we are with a horse and the way we are with humans. Like, it's the same. We think that it's different rules apply to different things, but it's the same. And when you see the sameness, it's very, very calming, and it stops all that overthinking that us humans are very susceptible to, which causes us to overcomplicate things, and then we get really, really, really stuck. Okay, so we've talked about this, my daughter and I, my daughter Kiara, because there is so much similarity between the principles of horsemanship and the principles behind being human. And so the thing that I really wanted her to come and kind of riff with me about, and I'm going to get back to this question this woman's asked me, but what I wanted to riff around with her is, when you look at the principle of something, it's got nothing to do with the type or breed of horse. Like, even though we just looked at a pretty hot young horse this morning, a warm blood's that's why they're called a warm blood, right? They're warm blooded. They're a hot horse. They can be anxious. They can be difficult. You kind of need to know what you're doing. But really, if we were looking at a Shetland pony, or we were looking at this horse, the principles of what you apply are the same. It is not horse dependent. So I really want you to know, I think one of the big mistakes out there in the world of relationships is there is way too much overcomplicated information. It makes it look like it's dependent on the type of relationship or the gender or personality or all this sort of stuff. And I want you to know it's not. Okay, there are principles that are the same that are applied to all humans. And when you understand them, it simplifies the heck out of everything, which is why when we came to look at this horse, even though we don't know this horse doesn't know us. And this is a hot, young, anxious horse. Because my daughter knows the principles of horsemanship and understands them, we're able to just apply that to this horse. And we're able to ride the horse, deal with the fact that it was trying on a few things, testing my daughter out, all of that kind of stuff. But she knows what to do, and the principle is the same. So because of that, and even the owner actually said to us, "Oh, wow, you're the first person that's come along that understands this horse." And it's like, well, we didn't say this because we didn't get to this conversation, but it's not so much even about understanding that horse. It's just understanding the principles that apply to horsemanship. And they don't change horse to horse, because horses are the same, just like human beings are the same. They really are. And so what does that mean? It means that the things that will calm a horse down, that will have a horse tune in and listen, that will have a horse recognize that you are the leader, are the same with every horse you deal with. This is the same with humans. The things that create connection, the things that help regulate your emotions, my emotions, anyone else's emotions, the principles behind those things are exactly the same, human being to human being to human being to human being. They are not person or situational dependent. Now, I think if everybody understood this would simplify everything. This would take all the complexity out, and this would have people with far less mental load. Now, when we have far less mental load, and some of you have been following me for a while, have heard me say this, when there's far less mental load, I've got bandwidth, I've got choice. I can be patient, compassionate, understanding, playful, curious, the things that really matter in a relationship, right? I've got bandwidth to do that. Without bandwidth, I've got no capacity for that, right? Without understanding how human beings work, and we all work the same way, our reality is created the same way. Without that understanding, I'm going to overcomplicate things. So when I meet someone or I'm dating or I'm in a relationship and there's a problem, I'm going to go, oh, is it because we have different attachment styles? Or maybe it's because we don't have the same love languages. Or maybe I need to understand what our core needs are. Or is it our personality types? Maybe I'm just not enough in my masculine. Maybe they need to be more in their feminine. But maybe I need to be more in my feminine, and maybe they need to be more in my masculine. Or maybe it's just because, you know, our cultural things, blah, blah. Like, this is what I see go on with people, right? And so we're so caught up in trying to work this out. Our heads get so stuck and so full of information, we actually miss the stuff that moves the needle. And I think it was just really cool this morning to see this with my daughter. She understands what moves the needle. And when it comes to horsemanship. And so we're able to apply that to this horse, even though he's a young, hot horse and he tried it on with her. And I'm not saying it was perfect, but she was able to ride him well, get a real sense of what he's capable of because she was applying these principles of horsemanship, which she understands. So there are principles to being human and principles to horsemanship. It's the same. So I will do a podcast episode with her soon. Do you want to come in and just say hello, Kiara? Sure. This is my daughter, Kiara.
Hello, everyone.
She's used to me jumping and doing Facebook Lives or talking to my clients.
I'm always here on the side.
No, she's not. So that's my daughter, Kiara. So I'll definitely do a podcast episode with her soon, so you can see this, because I think it's really powerful when we see that. But I'm going to come back to this, answering this person's question. But hey, everyone, thank you for saying hi. Hi, Friday. Thanks for saying hi. Hello, Friday. Beautiful. Hi, Munich. Nice to see you, Munich. Hi, Daryl. Hi, Carol. Hey, Roz. Thanks for saying hi, Michelle. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this question. So what this lady was asking me was, okay, I'm in a relationship with this man who doesn't seem to be all that responsive. He seems to kind of shut down or go quiet when he's anxious and he's got a lot going on. How do I handle that? I know it's not me, but what do I do? And I think the first thing that you need to understand, and this is true of everybody. Hey, Amy. Hey, Mick. Hey, thanks for saying hi. Nice to see you guys. First thing that you need to understand is there's no rule of thumb. Okay, there's no rule of thumb. But what does matter is that you're tuned into your own clarity and your own wisdom. Because I always say to people, if you're in a relationship that's struggling, or you feel like you're giving and you're not getting much back, you know, you've all got to get to a point. And I was actually talking about this with my relatable students on Wednesday night. You know, I am not advocating that people stay in relationships that don't work for them. But what I am advocating is that you get to a point where you know that you are showing up in the best way possible, that you are doing, your understanding is so deep and strong that you know exactly what's going on. You know exactly that you are showing up in a way where you are being true to you, where you know what you're generating. You have a deep understanding of being able to regulate your own emotions. So you're showing up without all the overthinking and all the stuff that gets in the way. And you're present and you're listening. Like, if you know that and you're bringing that consistently and you're not getting a lot back, well, then that's something for you to decide whether this is a relationship that you want to continue in, right? Is this honoring of me? Is this serving me? Okay, these are the questions that you want to ask yourself, and you need to know how to listen for the answer, because the answer that you get from your ego or personal or intellectual mind is going to be very different to the answer that you're going to get from what I would call wisdom, or what we would call that bigger, more universal mind, right? So it's a different answer. So you need to know what you're tuned into. And this is very, very, very important, because often people are tuned into their intellectual, personal ego mind, and then they get an answer that leads them down the wrong pathway, or it takes them a long time to realize that they're looking in the wrong direction. There is something incredibly powerful when you have clarity of mind and you're tuned into wisdom. I cannot tell you how important that is. This is why that is a relationship that I am continuously building. So I'm in communication. I listen to what's right for me, because as all of you have probably experienced in times in your life when you're in a situation that where it's difficult. Maybe it's a difficult relationship or a difficult parental relationship. You know, you'll ask your friends, what do you think? What do you think? And they'll all tell you one thing or three different things. And it may be very different to how you feel. The amount of people that come to me and say, I've got this situation, but my friends think I should break up or I should do this, but I'm not ready. It's like, that's right. You are the only one who knows what's right for you. So what I would say to this person is, I would stay in the relationship until it no longer makes sense for you, right? Until it no longer makes sense. Right now, it still makes sense because you're still there. Okay. So it still makes sense. But when you get to a point where it no longer makes sense to you and you will know that, well, that's when you've got to decide, right? And there is no rule of thumb around that. For me to come in and say, I think you should do X, can you see how arrogant that would even be from me? Because I'm not living your life. I am not in your shoes. I don't have the connection you have with this person. But what I would absolutely be saying to you is, this is where clarity of mind, tuning in, and knowing what you're listening to matters the most. So keep being in the relationship, keep showing up. You're saying the connection is unlike anything you've ever experienced. Awesome. I mean, those are wonderful experiences, and I would want everyone to have an experience like that. However, you may come to a point where it no longer works for you to be in a relationship with someone who shuts down, disappears, when things get quiet, shuts down, gets quiet. Now, you might get to a point where you're completely fine with that. You've got nothing on it and it works for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying. There's no rule of thumb. But the one thing I would say to you is develop that relationship with wisdom, get clear with your own clarity so you can check in with yourself and say, is this still serving me? Is this still honoring of me? Is this the kind of partnership I want to be in? And see what shows up. All right, just see what shows up. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Let me know if you've got any questions around what I've just said, and if anyone's got any questions that they would like me to answer, please let me know. I was on my Monday call, so I run 2 live calls a week with my relatable students, and I just want to share something. Some of you guys were on that call that are on here today, but there was this. One of my students on the call, a lady from the US, was sharing, and it was such a great share. I really wish, I'm going to ask her if I could just capture the audio and share it on my page, but I'll see. It's up. It's a private closed session, so I have to get her permission. But I just loved what she shared, and she was saying, Fiona, when I did your program, it was do or die for me. Like, honestly, I was at that point where it was do or die. Either this is going to work or I'm leaving this relationship. And this is a long-term relationship. They've got a lot of assets together and other things. So not an easy decision to make. But she said, this was my last gasp. And she said, I joined your program in February, March, and it's so different how I'm showing up, because she said, I realized I had all of this thinking where I felt like I'd been wronged, where I had all these deal breakers, and I would constantly come up against this thinking. And it constantly looked real and true to me. And, now that I've learnt, these principles this is where I'd really teach those at a deeper level and relatable. Now that I've learnt these, I can see so clearly that what looked like absolute truth no longer does anymore. And so I no longer come up against that. And so I'm generating something completely differently. I think I was always kind of in a state of dissatisfaction and disappointment. And so he was reacting to that. And so often he didn't want to spend time with me. And so it was just so interesting. And she said, I was that person, Fiona. You talk about the people who gather lots of information, read lots of things, looking at all the different things out there, attachment styles, love languages, personality types, communication styles, masculine, feminine energy, all of that stuff. And she said, I don't need any of it. I can see now I don't need any of it. I could see that was just getting me even more stuck. And that now that I have this clarity, I don't need any of it. She said, my mind is so clear. And she said, I now understand why you keep talking about clarity of mind so much. It's a total game changer. It changes everything, right? So for those of you who are searching and searching and searching, and look, I get it. I was a searcher my whole life. I'd always been searching for an answer. I didn't quite know what answer I was searching for, but I think what I was searching for, which is what I think a lot of people search for, is clarity, a sense of peace and calm and groundedness. I'm yet to meet a person who does not want that. And I think because we inherently know when we're in that state of being that everything is easier. There's a lightness and a sense of ease. Now, when a human being has lightness and a sense of ease, they show up so differently emotionally. So differently emotionally. They are comfortable in their own skin. They're kind, they're generous, they're playful, they get over themselves, they're brilliant at regulating their emotions, and they generate something so differently in the world. To me, this is the thing that makes the difference. You don't need to know all of that information. We live in the age of information, don't we? This is the information age. Why? Because we can access so much of it at any given time in any given moment of now. And if information was the answer, why are more and more people so unhappy? Why are relationships, like the divorce rate is going through the roof? And then when you talk about second, third, fourth marriages, that figure doubles. If information was the answer, why are so many people struggling? Why are relationships at the breaking point that they are? It breaks my heart when I see people struggling the way they are. And we need to simplify. We need to just come back to basic, simple foundations, and that's where you create amazing change. So, keep your eye out. I'm going to do this podcast, record this podcast with my daughter, because you will see there is so much similarity between the principles of horsemanship and the principles of human beings. And when you see that, people just relax. It's like they let out a huge breath. They stop searching. Okay? We do best with less on our mind, not with more. All right, everybody. I got to be a short, sharp one today because I'm on my laptop. My battery's about to die, and I've got a 2-hour drive home. And I'm about to go away for the weekend with my sisters, which I'm very excited about. So, I hope that this has been helpful. It's always such a pleasure to share this time with you. And if you have any questions that you would like me to answer next week, just send them to hello@fionalukeis.com.au. And obviously, of course, if any of you would like to know more about my Relatable program and find out about this amazing understanding and how you can live from that in your life, and this is applicable to everybody, how you can generate and have that in your life, then all you need to do is book a chat with me through the link that I'm about to share in the comments, and you can find out more about it then. All right, just putting that link there. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks so much, Michelle. Thanks. Hi, Liz. Hi, Craig. Hey, everyone. See ya. Kiara says bye,
everyone.
Bye.